Over the course of creating these videos, I've often struggled with the question, am I Polish? I currently hold Polish citizenship. I have Polish children, I have a Polish wife, and I've learned to speak the Polish language. Yet often it seems that something is missing. So in today's episode of Kult America, I take a DNA test to find out what my ethnicity actually is. So, drum roll. Normally I don't do stuff like that in Kult America. The backstory to this video is actually that my mother is crazy about genealogy to the point that she goes around buying everyone DNA test kits so that they can see what their actual heritage is. Now, when I took the kit, I can't lie to you, I was hoping that I would be given some shocking results like you're fucking 15% Cherokee or you're 10% Japanese, something cool and exotic like that. But indeed, the results of my DNA test perfectly match my family's history as I know it to be. We will start off with what I think most people probably want to hear. I am indeed ethnically Polish, approximately 60%. If you look at my ethnicity estimate, the biggest blob, sorry for the lack of scientific terminology here, is centered over Eastern Europe. So countries like Belarus, Ukraine, Poland, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Hungary are all encompassed in my background ethnicity, but the concentration points, so the clusters as they're described, are not only in Poland. What didn't surprise me is that my heritage is from Małopolska. I knew this. I knew that my great-grandmother had background in Nowy Targ. Her parents had background in Soromoce Niżna. I knew that from my father's side, my great-grandmother had a background from Ropčice Góra, or Repčice, I'm not actually sure which town, which is technically in Podkarpacie, but if you look on the map here, you can see that everything is really, really clustered together. And for me, it's fascinating to observe that these people existed parallel to one another, yet independent to one another, not realizing that their ancestors would go away to America someday, somehow cross paths, fuck each other, and voila, I exist on the world today. Irina's giving me dirty looks for my lack of proper scientific lingo here, but I mean, when I talk about my family history, my feeling is that if it makes people uncomfortable, regardless of the language I use or the stories I tell, that's their problem, because at the end of the day, they're my family stories. Two surprises that I have here that I really didn't expect is a cluster in Gliwice. Now, I've been to Gliwice and I performed a concert there years ago. I like to think of it, and I've always referred to it as the most beautiful place in Silesia. If you had to live in Silesia, let it be Gliwice. So, okay, do I feel pride that I have some ancestry from there? Maybe not as much as the pride I feel with the cluster on top of Krakow, but it's kind of cool. But the place that really surprised me, you guys might remember a video a while back that we did about standing in 3 countries at once, where Maciek and I drove down to South Poland, and the whole thing ended up being quite ridiculous. Like, people my age shouldn't be doing things like that. And I remember looking at the people and the places in that little village, thinking how beautiful and quaint it is. Never ever in a million years would I have imagined that somewhere, some way, romances took place in that town, which led me to sit here today. So that was really pretty cool. And the last thing is that some of these clusters cross into Slovakia. Now, I know that some of my ancestors were indeed baptized in Slovakian churches, and I'm very curious to know whether or not they were Slovakian in terms of their identity. Also, when I hover over the main blob, the primary locations are Poland, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Austria, Russia, Hungary, Slovenia, Romania, Serbia, Ukraine, Belarus, Moldova, Lithuania, Latvia, Bosnia, and Croatia. So all kind of Slavic places. And it's interesting because it's no secret that I have a deep fascination and obsession with Slavic places. So I could not feel prouder of my heritage than I do with this particular cluster. Now, when we go over to the other 20%, this is a little bit of a surprise because I knew that from my grandfather's side, I had Irish heritage, but only 13% accounts for Ireland. 20% is Great Britain, which is something that I never really had imagined or cared about. I've spent time in the United Kingdom. I didn't feel any special connection. I love British music, and I definitely love a nice British accent and some nice British tea. But other than that, I don't really give a shit about it. I mean, my favorite band, one of my favorite bands is Spiritualized, and they're from there, so I don't know, I guess that's kind of cool. But so we have 60% Eastern European, 20% from Great Britain, 13% from Ireland. So I'm not a mathematician, but it seems like there are a few percents missing there. And there are 7 more regions which are of lower confidence. We have 2% Europe West. And funny enough, I have this feeling that I could do without it. You know, I like my Eastern European background. There is 1% the Iberian Peninsula, which is like Spain, Portugal, no habla español, so it's got nothing to do with me. 1% Finland, Northwest, Russia, and then less than 1% European Jewish. Now I was really curious to see if I would have more Jewish blood when I took this test, because I know that a lot of people in Europe have mixed Jewish blood, but yeah, less than 1% is pretty insignificant. And then I don't even know why they would put it as a percent, but it says 0% Italian or Greece. But if you consider all of the greasy pizza that I ate in my life, then maybe that's why they put the percent on, you know, just to make me honorary. So this test basically did not surprise me. In fact, it confirmed family stories that we knew, and I would encourage anyone to take a DNA test, and maybe they would have some more exotic surprises than I had. But for sure, it's certainly interesting, especially as an American, to see from where you are. Cameras have always had a special place in my heart because they are the devices we use that can magically freeze the time and give a little trinket to our descendants. And I really wish that my ancestors from Europe had collected more photographs. So I have a special attachment to the concept of photography, and I kind of want to share that with you guys in giving some of my camera collection away to viewers. So if you would be interested in keeping one of these 6 cameras as your own souvenir from my journey of family heritage and learning about Poland, please visit my Facebook page, find this video which has been re-uploaded there, share it to your page, and send me a quick message requesting the camera, and yeah, we will send it to 6 lucky folks. And if you don't want the camera, you should still like the Facebook page because we put a lot of cool exclusive content on there. Anyways, thank you guys for watching Kult America, and we will see you again next Tuesday.